My name is Victor Pack. I'm one of the co-founders of PoE, and I'm going to be presenting today. So feel free to ask any questions along the way, give you a little bit more, overview of PoE and, who we are. Really happy that all of you can attend.
I am Giselle Cáceres. I am the marketing director for PoE. I have a background in marketing, graphic design, video editing for the technology and security industry. So I take care of everything regarding the website, any additional materials you may need for marketing purposes, pictures, logos, anything like that. You can reach out to me for that. A little bit about me. I've been with PoE for about getting close to 5 years now. Yeah, really excited for this webinar. We're going to present a lot of great stuff to you guys today, a lot of good new solutions. So yeah, Joey, take it away.
Yeah, Joey Tees. I am the director of sales over here at PoE. Like Giselle said, we're super happy that you guys are on this webinar. We have some exciting new products we're going to be talking about, and also some of our other PoE lighting solutions. So we're super excited to go over that with you. I've been with PoE for about almost 3 years. Prior to that, I was with PackEdge, and then I was with Control4 after the acquisition, and then I briefly was with Snap after they acquired Control4. Fun fact about me, I am originally from Toledo, Ohio, and I played football in college. So I'll let Lindsay introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Miller. I'm a regional sales director at PoE. I've been with the company for just shy of 2 years. I also previously worked at PackEdge for, I think, close to 5.5 years up until the point of acquisition. So I've been in the customer electronics channel for almost 8 years now. And again, as everybody else has said, we're happy you guys could be here with us today. Vic, I'll let you take it away.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And thank you again for everyone joining. And on this webinar, we're going to focus more on our lighting solutions, and in particular, our MV1, our constant voltage driver that we just released. We just started shipping that product. So, we'll dive into it, a little bit on how you install it, because there's a lot of details that I'm not sure we have the time here to cover, but some of the applications and how it all plays into our other lighting product. So I'm going to try to get through it in 30 minutes. And so if you have any questions, I'm going to leave 30 minutes for whatever questions you may have. So if you do, I believe the chat's open, so just keep feeding it into there, and we'll get to all the questions at the end. So PoE, some folks pronounce it PoE WID, which is fine, but it's pronounced PoE. So obviously the company is pretty much based on Power Ethernet. And this is a technology that, we first started using back in 2003 with packaged device and software on a lot of our access points. So, we saw the potential then, and we see even a bigger future for it now. So that's how we got the name PoE. So essentially PoE, and then the WID part is to represent smart devices. All right. Oops, the keyboard seems to be stuck. Let me try the mouse. Okay, great. So a little bit about the way I structured this presentation. There's a lot of slides here, so some of it I'm going to go over quickly. In the end, we will make this deck available to you to download, and whatever questions, or if you want us to go more in detail after this presentation, just let us know and we'll do that. So definitely want to start out high level, kind of what we're about, what we aim to do, and talk a little bit about our solutions, and then go into a deep dive of our lighting products only, not our networking products on this webinar, and then go deep into our constant voltage driver. And then finally, from an installation perspective, some high level installation points that are important that I wanted to start, getting out there and teeing up. And then the last two, 5 and 6, I won't go into, because we won't have time on this call, but as I mentioned earlier, this presentation will be available to you. So our mission, some of you might have found out, both Dushan Yankov and I, we were the original founders of Package Device and Software. And for those of you who don't know what Package did, we started this whole networking segment in this custom installation channel. So, we sold to Control4 at the time, and Control4 really expanded the brand and everything with it, and then Snap AV then bought Control4. But the main thing, as I mentioned earlier, we saw a big potential in Power Ethernet, and given all the consolidation that's been happening in the industry, we saw a lot of innovation being lost. It sounds like dealers are pretty much still selling the same products that they have been for the last 20 years, around home theaters, control and automation, but there really hasn't been a lot of innovation that's been happening in this channel. So that's kind of what we aim to do, and to use Power Ethernet, which a lot of you folks does networking products today, and being able to use the network and expand your product offering and continuing that innovation. So that was our big point in starting PoE and what we're trying to do. So with all that said, we're in 4 main product categories, and the first thing you'll notice about PoE, given all of our products sits on the network, is we're definitely a networking company first. And for those of you that has looked into our networking products, you'll see that they're big engines, big PoE budgets to power the next generation of networking devices. On the networking side, we are very dealer driven, and whatever dealers tell us to do and make, we pretty much do. And for example, when we first started shipping our products and our security lighting, one of our dealers wanted us to start making access points, mainly because Ruckus was very hard to get around the Wi-Fi 6 platform. And this was 2 years ago, and the Snap AV didn't have Wi-Fi 6. And then, Luxel, which still doesn't have Wi-Fi 6. So, we got into our access points and, based heavily on dealers' input. So, our access point line has really taken off. But from there, so our main offering was outdoor security lighting. And, one thing that we saw about this space is, we knew a lot of dealers in this channel did IP-based cameras, and, IP-based cameras are great, but they're all after the event type of technology, and they're not a preventative technology like lighting. So thought, what if will be cool is to use a cat cable to light up the lighting, in addition to maybe sharing it with the IP camera, and to be able to put lighting throughout a property or throughout a commercial building that's tied into the camera. So that was our first solution that we released about 2.5 years ago, and that's been a pretty nice segment. And majority of our dealers that we picked up at the time had a very security focused bent, but what's really cool to see now is a lot of dealers taking it on. And then from there, we expanded into the entire outdoor portfolio. We started introducing more architectural lights, and now with the release of our MV1, our constant voltage drivers, you are also able to tie in your landscape lights to it, other manufacturers' landscape lights and strip lighting as well. So, and that's what you're able to do with our MV1, our PoE constant voltage driver, which we'll be doing a deep dive in this webinar. And then finally, indoor recess lighting. So this is a solution that when we first started releasing our outdoor product, that some of our dealers, more of our diehard dealers, were getting into. They were installing our recess cans that was originally intended for the outdoors throughout homes. So because of the capabilities and everything else. So we won't go deep dive into the recess lighting today, but starting from Q1, we will be fully shipping our RGB WW recess cans which has both the white tunable and color tunable and some really crazy software features. So stay tuned in the future for more information on that. All right, so our solutions, I will touch base at a high level at our overall solutions, then we'll get deep into the outdoor lighting aspects of our company. So as I mentioned earlier, we are a networking company first, and we have a complete line of networking products, from very high powered PoE switches that are all cloud driven, to our access points, which is one of our biggest selling categories as well. And then finally our router line, which again we partnered with Fortinet. Probably the most reliable router that has ever been manufactured. All right, just one thing about our networking line and all of our devices. For those of you that installed our devices, what's very unique is that all of our devices follows each other, so they're all very tightly integrated, and they have features that makes them collectively better. So one thing that pertains to our outdoor lighting is, all of our lighting are automatically emergency-based lighting as well. We do sell a cloud-based UPS, and obviously this cloud-based knows when the power's out, and when the power goes out, it will send a broadcast to all of our devices on the network. And so our lighting, for example, you could program every single light to turn on, off, or dim to save batteries and runtime. And so a lot of our dealers find that feature really cool, especially given our aging power grids. And it's a nice supplementary feature. It's like if they're a diehard Lutron dealer, they will still install our lights either on the outdoors or along path exit ways in a home, so that they have this emergency capability, something that you cannot do with high voltage lighting. And then our APs, for example, we do have a very high powered stadium grade line, which supports over 1,000 clients, and because of that, it does consume over 40 watts of power. And in a power outage, you could tell our system to load shed the radios to again save on UPS battery life. And then finally, our switches, which are cloud enabled, you could actually do PoE load shedding. So a third-party device that's using PoE that's connected to our UPS, you could actually say turn off the PoE again to save power. All right, so getting to our lighting. So right now we are shipping our complete line of outdoor lighting. So we support it all the way from security lights, architectural lights, and now with our MV1s, we could do landscape lighting and also strip lighting. Other manufacturers strip lighting, which we'll get more into. And then we have done a lot of indoor already, but we will be releasing our full line of indoor Q1 right now. And mostly around the recessed can type fixtures. We have done commercial installations around custom drop panel lighting, art lighting, and again with our MV1 you could do indoor strip lighting as well, which we'll get in a little bit into in this presentation. Excuse me. So we do have integrations. Today, we integrate into 3 partners, Control4, Crestron, and URC now. Our deepest integration is into Control4. Again, I will expand a little bit more on that, but it's really cool because that's our avenue, given we're 100% low voltage, using these third-party integration partners. That is our avenue into the high voltage world. And it integrates very seamlessly then, if you're trying to do a remodel type of installations. And I would say what makes our lighting really unique compared to everybody else is all the different ways to trigger our products, whether it's our PoE motion detectors, our wall switches, our UPSs during a power outage, of course, using our app. And then finally, we're going to release the IP1, which is a PoE-based NCNO trigger, which then you could use an alarm panel to trigger the outside lights to flash, an indoor doorbell. Excuse me. So look for the IP1 to be released soon to again give you more triggering capabilities of our lights. Some common characteristics of our lights is all of our products installs through a single cat cable. So again, they're 100% low voltage, and through this cat cable, it gets both networking and also power as well. And then once you get it on the network, the product goes straight to the cloud. And then from the cloud is how all the integration happens. So through our app, you will see all the settings that you could do with the various products. And then once you're done, all the settings are passed down to the products. And then from there, all the settings and controls resides locally within the product. So even if internet connection is lost, everything will still continue to work. And this architecture makes us very unique because there are no on-site, on-prem devices that you need. So everything is done through the cloud. All the updates and any kind of new features, stuff like that, is all pushed to the cloud. So it really makes it, convenient. We're not like other lighting companies where you got to put this big DMX controller in. With the controller, whether you're doing 1 light or 50 lights, you will need this DMX controller per se, connected to high voltage to even get started with other folks' lights. But with us, we're very unique. All the intelligence just happens within every single device. So in a way, you could say we're very distributed in our architecture. And then from there, which I alluded to, is something that we call software-defined lighting. So all the features then happens through software. So again, it's whether it's hooking up to a group or to a scene. All of our lights are independent within the network. So we're not wiring dependent. So just because a certain way you wired our products together, each light is individually IP addressed. So you could control it that way. And then finally, as I mentioned, we do have tight integrations into Control4 and also integrations into Crestron and URC. All right, so our outdoor lighting solutions, from an overview perspective, this is what it looks like. So all these products, for example, are hooked up to our NS8, which is an 8-port, 500-watt power budget PoE switch. So each one of the ports puts out, 90 watts a piece. And then, so starting from our IP1, which is our NCNO gateway PoE powered. So what this device could do, it has 2 NCNO outputs, also a 12-volt trigger. And for example, you could tie it to a third-party alarm, or maybe a camera that has the alarm in, alarm out. And when it gets a trigger, it could send it to our IP1, and then from there you could then send it through the rest of the network into whatever you want to do. Most likely flashing lights. We have instances where in some of our demos where we are triggering on the Control4 side as well. So our IP1 is very close to be releasing, and so look for it by the end of the year. And then our OS1 PT, for example, what makes this product very unique, it has a PoE pass-through. So the PoE it receives and doesn't consume through the light. It can also pass it out through its PoE outputs. And it's been a great product for us in a sense. If you had an existing camera installation, you could actually take that cat cable that goes to the camera, pull it off the camera, and then go into our lights, and then use the pass-through to power the camera back up, and also the adding a motion detector within that vicinity. So it makes it very easy if you want to retrofit an existing camera location. And then our MV1, which is sitting here, and this is the product we're going to do a deep dive on. So it powers any constant voltage light strip, landscape lighting. So if you want to make all the controls of those devices part of the PoE ecosystem. And then we do have a current two wall packs that we're shipping. So we do have a wall pack, a WP4, which we've been shipping for about 18 months now. And then we do have our new wall pack, our WP6, which is not yet on our website, but we just started shipping this product in very limited, quantities. And it's a very high-powered, commercial-based wall pack that specifically designed to put out a lot of lumens. So in this case, it puts out 60 watts of LED-based power on it, but it's also RGB WW. So it does color change for various applications, and this is something our dealers have been asking because for very commercial, like schools, for example, in Alabama, they had a situation where they wanted to have the lights change to a certain color depending on the situation that's happening within that vicinity. So this coupled with our IP1, once we release that end of this year, you could actually integrate it into alarm panel, and when the alarm panel trips, you could have all the wall packs change to red and start flashing red to alert the authorities on any kind of distress or whatnot. And then with our WP6, we're currently shipping our non-pass-through version, and we will have a pass-through version that will release probably in the next 3 months. And again, you could hook up then your MD1s or your security cameras to that. And then finally, what you're seeing on this side, and you will get to a little bit more, is our new line of drivers. So our most popular will be our second gen, our UDP1. So the UDP1 without the pass-through feature is currently shipping with our wall pack 6. Okay, the pass-through version, will be ready shortly. But what the UDP1 has is you take a 90-watt PoE in. It has the ability to send out its LED-based controls into multiple devices. So you can start to see the cost of installation coming down per fixture, because it's able to power 4 single color lights or 2 circadian lights, depending on the scenario. And then finally, the UDP1 has 4 PoE pass-throughs that you could send to various devices. So like down here, I'm showing it. It's also powering a wall switch, a motion detector, and even an access point. Assuming that you have the PoE budget. So this has been our biggest use case scenario. The side benefit of putting lights next to any IP-based cameras, rather than recording in black and white or infrared, you put a little bit of light out there and it goes to high-res color. And so this has been a very satisfying product for our dealers to install, mainly because how this product is typically installed is you put perimeter lighting throughout a property, and especially the property is big, it tends to be very dark at nights. You might even have motion detection, way out at the front gate of entry. And then, we had installations where, there are 19 motion detectors throughout the property. So anywhere you step, all the lights will trigger. So it's been very satisfying in the sense a homeowner pulls up to a home, boom, as soon as they, pull into the driveway, all the lights in the property go full bright. And then, they're on a timer, the motion's on a timer. So after the timer expires, it goes back to, dark. They go and take out the trash, for example, they walk out, they trip the motion, and again, everything goes full bright. So, lights just work. No wall switches to, control it when you need it, unlike other folks, lighting. So this slide right here represents some of the past installations that we've been doing. So we're showing pictures and we're just showing the products that were used in it. So in this scenario right here, you have a motion detector. You have our PoE driver with a pass-through with our OD3, and it's also it's a single CAT cable going to the location, and it's powering the motion detector as well. In this scenario, you have our OS1 PT, our floodlight, and then this was an existing camera that was in this location. So that CAT cable was used to power the light, and then the two pass-throughs were used to power the camera and the motion detector. Okay, now what's cool about these installations is, again, once you get everything on the network, the setup part is all independent and not wire dependent. So you could, associate a motion detector to any light, or you could say this motion detector triggers all lights. So it's very flexible in terms of how you set it up. Again, this is another architectural light that's connected to this motion detector. Up here is our wall pack 4. And as I mentioned, we did start shipping a color changing wall pack as well. So one thing you'll notice about our wall packs 2, our wall pack 6 is our 2nd generation driver, which we really took the cost out of it. So you will see all of our line of products that coming out in the next 3 to 6 months to be at a much lower price point, because we did take a lot of cost out. And then finally, our deep dive into the MV1. So these are several applications that we did. So the first thing was the strip lighting with the MV1, and it's also color changing as well, because we support WS2811, which we'll talk a little bit more about. In this scenario, the MV1 is powering the landscape lights, but then it had extra PoE budget. So these right here are WS2811, just standard Christmas lights that you could buy on Amazon. And then based on that is powering those as well. Okay. And then more landscape lighting at the bottom. And then in this picture is a shot from a different angle. So it's powering a strip light underneath this ledge of this wall. And then finally, the same WS2811 lights. Now, what's cool about all this is, again, it's all tied into the PoET controls. So you're controlling it through the app, through schedules. You could have them trigger based on our motion detectors, along with our security lighting, wall switch, and whatnot. And then finally, the integration into Control 4 and whatnot. All right, so this is our indoor, which I won't touch on, because I know we're getting short on time. I do want to open it up for any questions. So it's kind of the same scenario, with our recessed lights. And then finally, some of the applications that you could do with our lights. And, the main thing, the way to think about our recessed lights is we do have single color. We do have white tunable lights that does the full circadian with rhythm from warm all the way to daylight. And then finally our tunable color. So it has the same white tunable, also the RGB chips in it as well. So you could do any colors, with it. And then finally, everything that we do is through software, and we're not limited to how you wired it up per se, because everything is configured through software. And then our automation, which we touched on in a bit, and our IP1 based, trigger, our NCNO based triggers, which not only ties to our systems, but you could use our triggers to, trigger on the Control 4 side, anything that, you might want to trigger that are not even tied to our system. And I'm going to go fast over these slides. Kind of we're short for time, and I do want to open it up, but this is an overall of what makes us different. And I know there's a lot of folks out there that does lighting over Cat cabling, but if you really start peeling it back, you're realizing that they're not actually really doing networking per se, or sending controls over IP-based networks. They're just using the Cat cables to send a low voltage piece to it, and in the end you got to tie it to a DMX controller or Pixie or whatnot. There are other PoE based companies per se that runs a PoE to a single controller, but it doesn't go out to the actual devices on the network. So they don't go out to the motion detector, they don't go out to the wall switch or to the lights. And with our architecture, it's very unique and different because every one of our devices has a CPU in it and has a networking capability. So you can control every one of our devices independently. And it also makes the cost of installation lower because whether you're doing 4 lights or 300 lights, it's all the same. You don't need to buy that massive controller to only drive 4 lights per se. And then this slide just shows it's possible today because LEDs, obviously, because the power that they consume is so little now. So even with a 90-watt PoE budget, you could do a lot with LEDs and power a lot of lights. And then finally, the cloud infrastructure that has really developed in the last 10 years, it enables us to easily, cost-effectively, control all these lights on the network. And then finally, the high-powered BT, which is up to 90 watts now of power. And as you can see, you're starting to see a lot of devices now that require more than 30 watts now. And then, so as I mentioned, our 2nd generation driver, which we're starting to ship, and all of our products will be on. There's 2 ways to think about our products. There are our products that requires a PoE fixture. So like our recessed cans that we're going to release, they all require a PoE fixture. And there are 3 main drivers that they'll be associated with. And when you go to order them, you got to order them together. And then our MV1, our constant voltage driver, which is designed so we can tie in other lighting manufacturers' fixtures. So like, whether it's landscape or strip lights, it just gives you guys another option to tie it all into our, control system. And then, so this slide, which I won't dive too much into, represents our 3 drivers. So our 2 main ones are UDP1, which is currently shipping with our WallPack 6. It does not have a pass-through on it, and our UDP1 with a pass-through. So this one has 4 pass-throughs, and so you'll see that being released with our products as well. And then finally, our UDP4, which is a 4 channel out driver, and this driver does not have a pass-through, but what the 4 channels out enables you to do. So for a single color light, it enables you to hook up 16 single color lights to this driver. Okay, so in installation, you have a single Cat 5 going to a location, and from there, you could do 16 recessed cans, for example. Okay. And then, how it works through these single channels, how do you hook up 16 lights to this? We do have splitters that will ship with the lights. And then from there, you can actually break out the lights. And it's also important to mention that all of our lights are connected through Cat cabling. So it's very simple on how everything comes together. And there's 2 ways to do it with Cat cabling. You could either home run the lights, so they all go back to the driver, or you could also daisy chain as well. So from the driver, then you could daisy chain for a single color light up to 4 lights, for example. Okay. I'll just skip this slide. This visually shows how it's wired up. So we'll always have a lot more diagrams like this, as we start releasing our recess cans, based on these second generation drivers. And this slide just shows the two main of controls. We do have two flavors of PoE based motion detectors. So our outdoor base and our indoor base. What's really cool about these detectors is you could say what lights to turn it on, but you could also say at what intensity, and that intensity could be set based on the time of day. So like in a bathroom, for example, during the day, you may want to fire at full brightness, but at night, you might want to use it at night light and then fire at a very low intensity. And then finally, our PoE based wall switches, which is very programmable in terms of what you want it to do. And of course, with all this too, you could tie it into control 4 wall switches. You could even use control 4 wall switches to drive our lights as well, if that's what you already have going on. So we're very flexible in terms of how we install. And I won't touch on this too much, but this is our IP1, which I mentioned earlier. So we'll have more information as we release this product. And so this is our MV1 that we released. It takes one PoE input, 90 watts. It has two independent channels that you could set the voltage through software, depending on what you're trying to drive. Okay, so the primary application that we envision today is landscape lighting and strip lighting, but any other applications that you could use it for that requires constant voltage could also be used as well. And just real quick about our installation. The main thing you have to do to install our products is to make sure you have enough power within a single cat cable run. Okay, and I won't touch too much on this slide, but we do offer a lot of training on our products and whatnot. But that's the main thing that you got to watch out for, is you definitely got to plan to make sure that you have enough PoE budget per cat cable run. Otherwise you got to introduce another power source. For MV1, how it's wired is very simple. It's and this shows a little bit of close up on the outputs. So on this side right here is driving a 12 volt WS2811 strip light, which is readily available anywhere now on the internet. They're actually becoming quite popular, in terms of the different type of strip lights and also the individual LED lights that they offer. So just basically plus minus, load and neutral, and then one data signal that lets you address each individual LED to change colors and whatnot. And then on the right side is a very typical landscape wiring installation, which I'm sure all of you are very familiar with. It's just a 2-wire plus minus, and then from there each light is attached in a parallel fashion. And again, the main thing in installing these lights is you got to make sure that you don't exceed the power budget. Okay, and it's for a 90 watt PoE, the guaranteed budget is 71. So every manufacturer has a spec where we put out 90, but even if you only put out 71 watt, it's still within the IEEE BT specs. So that's kind of the level that you got to shoot for. Okay, and then this is just a high level example of a landscape wiring. So this was an installation that was done, and so overall there was 30 landscape fixtures within this property, and this is all driven by 2 MV1s. Okay, so based on where the landscape wiring terminated, one was in this pool house and the other was within the main house basement. So one was placed in the pool house and the other was placed in the basement. Now, what's unique, so obviously the one in the pool house was only 55 watts. So, I did say 71 earlier, but so this is driving under budget. And then as well. But this one, if you notice, is 80 watts. Okay. Now, I think most of you guys know this, but even though slightly over budget, depending on the length of the cable run and how much luminosity of the LEDs you want, you could actually tune down the voltage of those products to still get it within the PoE budget. But the main point I want to show is, 30 fixtures you could drive with 2 MV1s, which is pretty cool. And then obviously all these lights that are tied to the PoE, motion detection and the security lights, to make the complete, outdoor solution. Okay. So I'll skip over this slide. I know we're running out of time, and I do want to open it up for questions, and then I won't touch on this either. This slide just represents some of the WS2811 lights that are out there, from the strip lights, which are no-brainers, I'm sure, you guys install today, to now, to, various kinds of Christmas lighting and, whatnot, then you can very easily drive, with our MV1s. So, all right, so there's other slides in this deck that, we'll get out to you, but I do want to open it up for the last 15 minutes to questions. So, feel free to email me if you have any questions on any of these other slides. This one just represents, how you, wire it up. If you're using a third-party NVR, there are ways to wire it up so that you get the NVR and everything recording properly. So we do have a lot of documents, online around it. We do motion detection maps. So, where to put motion detectors, based on how much output our motion detectors have. So, we do offer that as a service. And then finally, the last slide talks a little bit about our app. But online, on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, you'll find a lot of YouTube video that goes over step-by-step on how to configure our app. It is very straightforward. It works just like any other app. It is a dealer-driven app, so you guys give permission on who has access and, whatnot. But, with our products in a nutshell, just plug it in. It goes right to the cloud, and from there, you use the app to configure it all. And then finally, it pushes everything down to the products. So with that said, let's open it up to any questions.
Does anybody have any questions? I don't have any on the chat as of now.
Okay.
Prices from Wayne?
Oh, Lindsay or Joey, can you answer that?
Prices for the new products or the current line of products, Wayne?
But so I think the MV
new prices,
right?
New price for the MV1 we have listed right now at $195 dealer cost. The other new products we haven't officially listed pricing on. The WP6 that Vic was talking about earlier, that's $295 dealer cost.
Right.
Okay, we have a question. Any cost for cloud usage?
No, and that's a big advantage of us is, yeah, we don't charge, for anything for, cloud usage, and especially our networking line, especially our APs are really taking off on us, mainly because, same chipsets as Ruckus, and, we configure very easily through the app, and we don't have annual, recurring fee. So any firmware updates and whatnot, just push, right to the cloud, and you get them all. We understand that most dealers aren't set up for recurring revenue. You don't have the ability to go back to a customer and collect fees. So So yeah, we definitely don't charge for that. And obviously, we know how to support this channel. So yeah.
Okay, we have another question. Can we get this video? Yes. We will send this video out to everyone in the next couple of days or so. Next question after that is, if this was installed at a location that was off-grid, would there be any way to use DC instead of AC, and therefore not have to run the AC inverter on the system, thinking for small off-grid cabin installations?
Well, I think it'll have to depend on the PoE supply. I do know that they make DC-based PoE switches, so it would have to be something in that, type of scenario. I know data center run DC-based switches, so it would kind of have to be along those lines. But obviously, to our device, it needs PoE to run, so it needs PoE and also an internet connection to initially set it up. After setup, then you don't need the internet connection, but you do need PoE.
Okay, next question. Does the integrator choose priority for PoE load shedding?
Yes, it's all configurable to the app. So once for example, our switch, once you pull up the switch, it'll automatically populate the devices that are connected to it, and you just select the ports you want to load shed during a power outage. And one other step is you got to associate that switch with the UPS. So the UPS on the screen will ask you what switch do you want it to control. So it's very intuitive, yeah, on how we set it up.
Okay. Next question. System required to be on its own VLAN?
We do not broadcast across VLANs, right? But one thing you're going to find, yeah, so is the same answer. So like on the camera side, for example, our current product line with the PoE pass-throughs, it does not have VLAN capabilities. So the cameras and the lights need to all be on the same VLAN. In the new driver, we are going to have 802.1q capability, so you could set it to different VLANs. And one thing we noticed overall is it performs much better, not just our product, but all products, when you start breaking out, VLANs. So obviously with our router, you could do it very quickly, especially with camera network, right? They're broadcasting all the time to the NVR. So, we've seen so many instances with Sonos. We just got to tell dealers to get Sonos off, get it on its own separate VLAN. Because Sonos then, when it tries to broadcast audio, especially over a flat network, especially if it has oversea running, right, which is a network hog, because it's always pinging devices to see if it's up, which is a big no-no, by the way, in networking. Yeah, so we highly recommend separate VLANs. The other aspect, I know I'm rambling, the other aspect about these new networks is, there's a lot of devices well beyond 256. So, like in my house, for example, I have probably over 600 devices now. And I don't live in that big of a house, just a lot of stuff running, but you have, in order to break it out in a correct way, you do need VLANs. So
so we have a comment. Thanks for answering the off-grid question. I was aware of DC PoE switches, but I was not sure, I guess, if I could use PoE devices with third-party PoE switches. That's good to know.
yes, you can. That's a question we get. Are you proprietary? We are not proprietary. We're 100% TCP/IP based, right? We work with any PoE switch, any router, any network. And that's what's really cool about our products. We're very standard in what we do. There's no, proprietary. And you can make the argument that DMX, Pixie, the other lighting controls that other folks do, it is proprietary in a way. It is very old technology, but we just use internet-based standards. And like what's really cool that you'll start to see with us, like with our MV1 release, we have dealers that are very enthusiastic around the whole color changing aspect, and WS2811, that's a standard. So there are a lot of open source software out there that we're going to open up our cloud so that you could do whatever you want in terms of lighting shows or whatnot that you do. But it's all around the internet, all around open source software, and that's what we're really excited about.
Next question. Can we use NVR camera events to trigger lights?
Yes, with our IP1. If you contact us, we could give you a pre-release of it, because we are currently in the testing phase where we ramped up on production on it. We're just trying to finalize software of that product. But yeah, so your NVR or your cameras need to have the alarm in, alarm out output, so that once you get that pixel differentiation, it sends it to there, and then from there the IP1 will take it, and then you can associate that with any lights that you want. But you will need the IP1 product.
Okay. Any additional questions, anybody? Oh, we just got more. Okay. Will this product be available to the consumer channel, Amazon, Home Depot, etc.? No. I mean, we're not really set up to do that. We go through manufacturers' reps and we ship direct to dealers. Our app's not really set up for that either, because the dealer that signs up, you're essentially the master of the app per se, and then from there you associate your dealers and your you set up your homeowners if you want to give them controls to various aspects of the app. So yeah. Okay, we have a comment from Chad. He's very happy that our customer support is available from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Okay. Nice presentation. Anybody else have any additional questions?
Cool.
Okay.
Giselle, there was a question.
want...
Giselle, there was a question. There was a question from Les Everett that I think you skipped over.
Oh, which one? Can you go ahead and read it? I'm not sure which one.
Will this product be available to the consumer channel, Amazon, Home Depot, etc.?
No.
Yeah, we answered that. Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that.
And
yeah.
And if you ever just elaborate real package history. I mean, we always been pro dealer, right? And if you look at the way we structure the whole company, and how much feedback we get from the dealers, and like if you look at package history, all the innovations that we did, around the networking channel equipment, from the cables in the back to the in-ceiling access points that embed in the ceiling, those were all our dealers' ideas. So we know who we work for. If you look at our margins that we offer, it's all 50 points, on all of our products, for the dealer. So we're 100%, for the dealer, and we know who we work for, and we know a lot about your business and how you guys are set up, what you guys are able to do and not able to do, and we know that you guys are low voltage guys and not high voltage guys. So we're not out there saying, sell them light fixtures. We're not out doing that. I mean, with all of our products, you could install it. I mean, you don't need that electrician, and that's some of the biggest fights that we have. The whole electrical electrician versus you guys, but that's been really cool to see even in the last 2 years with our security lights. A lot of folks, especially on the commercial side, wanted to do lighting, perimeter lighting, but it was just too hard to coordinate between the electrician on the high voltage side and the integrator on the IP camera side. But it's been really cool to see the alarm installer per se, the camera installer, do the whole thing, and it all be within their control, and then they make the revenue. So that's been really cool to see.
Great. Another question from Les Everett. Where is the company office or ship product from?
Florida, South Florida, is where we ship from today. We are going to start shipping from the West Coast, from the Bay Area soon. So we are expanding those aspects. Yeah.
Great. Any additional questions? If you think of any additional questions, I'm just going to go over real quick on the marketing side. I shared a couple of links right now. I shared a link to our dealer application. If we have anybody on the webinar that is not a dealer yet, feel free to fill out the application, and then either Joseph or Lindsay will approve you and help you get set up on our portal so you can get access to our dealer pricing and access to, purchasing your first PoE products. Additionally, any marketing materials that you may need are available in our online tools page of the website. You can find in there brochures. We're going to have some case studies coming into that page as well. You can find videos, logos, pictures of all of our products that you can share on your social media or tag us with or use for your collateral. Yeah, so we have presence on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook and Twitter. So please, follow us, like and share. Feel free to follow us as well. Also, because on our Instagram and pretty much on all channels, but mainly on our Instagram, we will announce upcoming webinars. We will showcase any new products that we release. So it's a really good resource for you guys to keep up with everything that PoE is coming out with new. And then also on our YouTube channel, we upload very useful videos on installations. All of our webinars are being uploaded there for your future reference. There are some other webinars already on there where we cover very in-depth training of our access points and some of our other solutions, security lighting and such. So you can always refer back to those videos as well on our YouTube channel. And if you need anything marketing related, or if you have any questions, feel free to email me on giselle@poe.com for marketing. For sales, you can email joseph@poe.com or lindsay@poe.com. And if nobody has any additional questions, I think that's it.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time. I know you guys are very busy, so definitely appreciate the time and that I was able to tell you a little bit more about PoE.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you everybody for joining us.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.